Oh,
High is up.
I'll stick with time right now.
they're about equal.
Yeah, they are.
I have a brand new machine here, so.
Ooh. So we're all set?
Yes.
Okay, we will come to order for the Protection and Welfare Committee this Monday, November 14th, 2016, 3 p.m., City Hall, room 207. Roll call is all are present. Alder Zima is here, Alder Dorf is here, Alder Galvin is here, and myself as chair, Alder Scannell. I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Alder Dorf motioned and Alder Zima seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion, the agenda is approved. Item 3. Consideration with possible action on an application for a Class B combination license by Jessica Roll LLC at 106 South Broadway, formerly Red Restaurant.
City Attorney's Office has no objection.
And the police department would have no objection either.
I make a motion to approve with approval of proper authorities.
Second.
Pardon?
I have some questions.
Okay. Well, the motion is made, but we'll,
We have discussion.
Under discussion.
yeah, under discussion. Did you have questions of the committee, the staff, or
The applicants.
you want to make a motion to open the floor?
Motion to open the floor.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Gavin to open the floor, seconded by Alder Dorf. All in favor?
Aye.
The floor is now open. If you could just step forward and state your name and address, and then just address the chair, the member who's
Okay.
talking.
Okay. Jessica Rowe.
Jessica?
Rafael Suarez.
Rafael. Jessica.
And the addresses? Your addresses?
Oh, yeah.
We need your addresses.
Our home address,
Mhm.
1801 North, 9th Street, Green Bay, 54304.
Same address.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a couple questions. Have you operated it, you're gonna operate this as a restaurant,
Correct.
primarily food?
I'm thinking 50/50, but hoping 40/60.
Well, I mean, is the thrust of your business for food?
Yes.
Or is the thrust as a bar?
Food.
Okay. And have you operated any other establishments prior to this one?
Yes.
Could you tell me the names, please?
I was kitchen manager here in Green Bay at Champions, sous chef at the Tundra. I had my own business up in Florence County, which I leased the restaurant part of it from my brother-in-law. I ran a bar in Spread Eagle, Wisconsin. My parents had a bar. I've been doing this since I was 14, so quite a few years.
Okay. And Raphael?
I am former kitchen manager in Sideline Sport Bar in the Packers District for about 7 years. But I live in Wisconsin for 12 years already. So I got a lot of experience coming from Mexico, Cancun. So yeah, and yeah, 35 years experience in the business. So it's my first time to own some place.
Okay.
Well, always working for other companies.
All right. And the name of your establishment is going to be?
Chevis and Grill.
Travis. All right, thank you. That's all I have.
Any other questions?
What is Chavis?
Cheves
David.
is, I'm from Mexico, and Cheves is a kind of slang.
Slang.
Slang for my,
Slang.
Right, yep.
yeah, for cerveza, beers,
There's,
is what I mean,
Say it.
Cheves. And grill, so mean like
Got
you can
it.
come in and
Sure.
eat and drink.
Okay.
All right.
So we did good? And the next step is tomorrow, correct?
the next step will be tomorrow after we make the vote
Okay.
up here. Yep. And what we do is just a recommendation,
Okay,
and the final authority will be with the council tomorrow.
okay, and I want to extend my invitation for you to come and visit our place. And thank you very much for having this special meeting. It means a lot. Because every day those doors are closed, we're not doing anything, you know? I appreciate it. We
Really,
both do.
really appreciate it.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Motion to close the floor.
Second.
Motion by Alder Dorf to come back into session, seconded by Alder Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
We're good to go?
Opposed?
No,
Wow.
we're about to vote, so
We're about
you
to
might
vote.
want to wait.
Yeah. All we did was close the floor, so
Oh,
now
okay.
we'll just discuss amongst ourselves if there's any. There was a motion by Alder Zima to approve and seconded by Alder Dorf. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Now you can go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
How you gonna tell them what this is on?
Yeah, I already did that.
You did say that.
I just did that. Item number 4. Consideration with possible action on an application for an available Class B combination license by CH Bar LLC at 301 South Broadway, formerly the Crunchy Frog. Beth?
City Attorney's Office would recommend denial. I did pass out a conviction record from municipal court for a disorderly house conviction. It's my understanding that the police department actually, he was under 2 separate names, so I believe Captain Florence has some more information relating to his prior convictions and run-ins with the police department, so he can elaborate. I don't know if anybody's here to speak on the topic, but Captain Florence probably has more to add.
Yeah, looking at the application for his license, there is listed a disorderly house in 2011. Looking at our in-house records, there is a discrepancy of how the name was filed.
That's
Well,
another
Mr.
one?
Hernandez.
In other words, this one's 13 here, 2013.
Well, you have this 13,
Yes.
and then in
So-
addition, there's an 11.
His application actually only lists the one infraction in 2011.
Well, that's a violation right there.
I've located the 2013 disorderly house. I've located the 2011 disorderly house. There's also a disorderly house in 2009 of the businesses that he's been involved in. We also go back to, in 2010, no licensed operator on premises. 2007, serving underage person, allowing underage person to loiter.
I'm sorry, could you
Underage
repeat that
person.
again?
2007, serving an underage person on licensed premises and allowing underage to loiter. 2006, permitting underage to loiter. Looks like 3 different counts of that, as well as a sale to an underage person.
That was all on the same day?
Yes,
2007.
that was 2006 that I just mentioned. 2006, there's another violation of permitting an underage person to loiter in a tavern. And then also in 2005, allowing an underage person to loiter as well as serving to an underage person. So there's a lot more that we have on file that I haven't covered in the last hour of looking.
Do you know the names of those establishments at all?
These were all under the same address at 718 Bodart, had various names such as Coco's, Club 720, and most recently La Cueva.
Yeah.
What was the nature of these last 2 disorderly houses?
The one in 2011 involved a large disturbance where a weapon was displayed by one of the disturbers. Several arrests were made, several
This
officers.
was outside the building? or
That,
inside?
it started inside the building, spilled out outside the building. Again, a weapon was displayed, several arrests were made, several officers had responded. During the course of the investigation, several underage people were also cited and determined to have come from that business. That was 2011. Unfortunately, I didn't run into 2013.
I have a little bit of information from 2013. Same kind of thing, a lot of citations were issued, a lot of arrests were made for disorderly conduct, battery, things like that. I believe it started with a fight. A bouncer was punched in the face, a beer bottle was hit over somebody's head. And then the police report I have from Officer Van Handel just indicates that due to the number of arrests and establishment's inability to maintain order, a disorderly house citation was issued to the liquor license holder, Vincent Hernandez. That case was resolved. He was found guilty at a lower fine of $429.
Would it be safe to say that anytime someone receives a citation for disorderly house, that means that it was such a chaotic, large disturbance that many, if not all, the police officers on duty at that time would be responding to something like that?
That would be safe to say, and/or we've had multiple past calls at a particular address to the point where this just became the final straw.
Okay, thank you. I do have one question about the license stipulation plan.
we did remain open after 2013 with a stipulation, is that it? I mean, was there agreement made between the city and?
There was another contact where in 2014, that was the most recent contact at that address where
The same owner?
the applicant was not cited or involved, but there was open intoxicant citations issued outside his establishment.
Was he operating it at that time?
Up to 2014, that's as far as I could find, yes,
But this last incident, he was still the owner?
correct.
Okay.
If you look at the, I think it's, keep going on page 2, there you go.
Yes.
Okay, where it says about midway down, duties imposed upon licensee. The first one, under number 3, licensee shall utilize a functioning ID scanning device. Does that say not applicable? I'm having a hard time, the photocopy wasn't that clear.
That's what I can read too, is
Okay.
not applicable.
Why would we allow that? And it looks like, I can't read the officer's name, but why would the officer sign off on that? When this is a standard license stipulation that we require for all taverns or bars.
My only suggestion to that is this particular officer, this might be the first license stipulation that was done by her.
Okay, and then we have the licensee or employee of a licensed establishment prohibited from being under the influence, and they wrote refused.
Yeah,
All right, and then again, the officer signed off on that.
correct.
Why would we even go forward with presenting this to this committee if they're not willing to follow the license stipulation that the city's agreed to?
I would agree completely with you. That would be a training issue with this particular officer, but certainly bring that to our attention.
Do you know who oversaw this before I got passed on to us?
It would have been Captain Knable.
Maybe he's not aware of that either,
Yeah, no,
coming
I'll
from the world he
definitely,
came from.
I'll definitely point that out to him.
Okay, thank you.
Could there be other reasons for writing not applicable, as in perhaps he already has it or something, or?
Well, no,
would that-
what they're agreeing to do when they have that is they shall utilize a functioning ID scanning device that checks ID of each person entering the premises and records the time and date each time. We use that as a means of, if we get complaints about underage people or
Right.
certain people inside, that's data that we can search after the fact.
Mhm.
They don't have it, or if it's not applicable, it means, to me, it would mean it's non-existent, or it's not there at all, but I'm sure that Captain Forms can check and find out.
The other time I've seen something like that is like a restaurant that was getting a liquor license. A lot of times they won't have ID scanners. This does seem to be more of a bar than a restaurant type situation, so I
Right.
believe that it should be applicable, but
And then the last one, any employee of a licensed establishment is prohibited from being under the influence of an intoxicant or controlled substance. That's, I mean, the basic of running a good business is that your employees, including yourself, in fact, most of the time that we would have problems in bars, you would find that the employees and/or who's ever running the establishment was intoxicated or unable to function enough to maintain control of their establishment.
Is the applicant here?
Thank you,
Tom?
Mr. Chairman. Can I ask who you're talking about and what bar? Because I have a lot of history with this, being on there at the time and working. Captain Galvin, I believe you were still on the force at the time with this. This is, if I believe it's on Boat Artist, am I correct? This is an area, at this time, I believe his first name was Vince or something like that, where he, on certain nights, had hip hop and all that, and he had a groups that always came in and they caused trouble. And as time went on, he did work with the city and Captain Galvin, and he continued to work. Finally, he just ended the hip hop and the trouble ended. Every once in a while you get, like any bar would, something that would happen. But if you go back from those instances to now, he's been a good tenant. He's still there now with no problems at all. What he did was got rid of the trouble. That's the same thing as when we had Vizinski's open and they moved. the groups went into certain bars and stuff like that on certain nights, and that's when the trouble. As soon as he ended that trouble, Captain Galvin, you can remember, it went away.
Tom,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna agree with you on this, in
Yeah.
that so much as we've had country western bars where we've had trouble,
Yeah,
and we've had bars.
I'm talking about this bar in particular.
And what I'm saying, I guess my point that I'm making is that it's not the music that causes the problems. It's how the management manages their business.
And he understood that, and that's why he ended that, and they stopped coming there altogether when this hip-hop started. They came here because that was the music. I'm not gonna try to say this group or that group likes this kind of
Right.
music. I'm not gonna get into that.
Right.
But when that ended, everything ended.
Well, and that may be that he finally got the message here.
Right.
But we have a history of 3 disorderly house arrests and convictions.
In that period of time.
No, from 2009, 2010, no, I'm sorry, 2009, 2011, 2013. Prior to that, he had a number of other violations that I think if you put it all together, we've got a problem operator. And in my opinion, when I was in charge of community policing, and we were dealing with this gentleman, he would cooperate with us, and after a while, things would slide. He'd get another ticket. Cooperation, things would slide, he'd get another ticket, and it became a drain, a continuous drain on police resources. And that's my very grave concern here. And then when you look at this license stipulation, he refuses to sign off on that he and his employees are gonna be sober when operating his business. It looks like he doesn't plan on having an ID scanner. That may be a difference of interpretation, because he's not here.
If I may.
Sure.
This is for the Urban Frog, is it not? On
Right.
Broadway? It's not gonna be a bar. It's gonna be a restaurant.
No, it's CH Bar, it's the Crunchy Frog, that's not the same as the.
Crunchy Frog isn't
Crunchy
here.
Frog.
We have
Yeah,
somebody
the
here
Crunchy
that can
Frog
speak
is
on his
different.
behalf.
The Crunchy Frog is
It's
down
not-
the street,
yeah.
south of the school board building.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that way.
And I
I
guess,
got my frogs.
my
mixed up.
concern
Yes,
is,
you
if you look at, let's take Vicensis, something the police department adamantly recommended against, but the council prevailed, and they granted them the license, and that became a drain on the resources of this city and the police department for years. And when we did a study, we found that we had 80% of the police department downtown between the hours of 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning on every Friday and Saturday. I'm just very hesitant to endorse something where we've got a person with a proven track history, where we're gonna be going down that street again. And as you know with Vicensis, once he got the license, trying to take it away from him was almost impossible.
Well, this gentleman still runs the establishment, and I think since 2014, he hasn't had any calls at all.
What is this before us here?
It's 2 years.
They just forgot to renew it on time, or what?
I believe it was sold, so it was formerly a different establishment. They tried to transfer it to somebody else named Walter. That was denied by the council.
My phone's
So by
supposed to
the-
be off.
So by the time that this gentleman purchased the building, there was no liquor license established to it, or associated with it at that time.
Well, I'm just confused because Mr. Duane seems to think that this person has been operating right along.
He has been,
A
still
separate
is.
But
establishment.
at a different.
Yeah,
Right.
if you
Correct.
go there, they probably have
So-
3
so
or
he-
4.
He presently has a license? He's
Yes.
transferred it to this address, is that it?
No, he's asking for a new license. He presently still runs that same
wants to
operation on
run two of
board.
them.
So this is, he's asking to run the Bullfarg as a more upscale establishment.
Like, would they be put together?
No.
No,
Not on
2
Boulevard.
different places. One's on Bodart, one's on Broadway.
In other words, but just to get it clarified, he presently has a license with us and he hasn't had any problems since
2014. Well, yeah, because he finally understood, he's gonna lose his license until he got rid of all the problems. He wasn't, it's an Hispanic place, and I'm not defending him, but I know him. I got to know him because he had so many calls, and I defended him. So we went in, guy, you know how that works. You know, you go and you see the establishment, and you tell them, hey, man, I put my name on the line here, and for 2 years or 2 years or more, it's 2017 almost, hasn't been one problem. And I think he clearly understands, he's got to have the staffing, he's got to have the backing, he has to have he already has experience because he's been running the same establishment for a long time. Now, if you want that frog station, or whatever it's gonna be called, whatever it's, Froggy something, to stay empty, that's up to you. But,
Why, is there some reason why he's not here?
We do have
Is he
someone
working?
that,
yeah, there is someone here
to
that's,
speak for him.
that's up to you if you wanna come up.
Make a motion, open the floor.
Second.
Motion by Alder Zuna to open the floor, second by Alder Dorf. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Floor is not open. If you care to step up, please, and give us your name and address. And then, no matter who's talking to you, please just address the chair.
Andy Calhoun, 2512 Van Beek Road, Green Bay.
Okay? Is there anything you just, from what you've heard, anything you care to say, or do you just want to take some questions?
Vince apologizes, but he had arranged for a wedding that he's back in Mexico for and had plane tickets. That's why he was planning on the meeting on the 28th, but then we had heard that this meeting was here, so we could maybe hopefully start getting the ball rolling. I'm just a bartender for Vince, so any prior things that happened at his other establishment, I'm not really totally aware of all those. But if you had questions as to what he was planning on doing with the old Crunchy Frog building, I can help answer those questions.
I'd be interested.
Yeah, well, it's connected to Keith's Vacuum Center. That gives you kind of a ball right across the street from Cup of Joy Christian Coffee Shop. So Vince purchased the business, or I'm sorry, Vince purchased the building in June of this past year, which is why I think there was a
Kirby
whole.
Vacuum is?
What's that?
It's the building of the Kirby Vacuum?
Yep. Next, well,
And he's gonna
there's.
take that out of there?
No, that's kind of just a larger building. This is just a portion of that building that he's going into. So the
Sweet.
vacuum place is staying there.
But he owns the whole building,
No, he just owns that certain entity.
that one piece of the building.
Correct.
And he bought that and he wants to put a bar in there. Was there a bar in there before?
There was a bar there for many, 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 many years. Formerly known as the Crunchy Frog. I'm not sure how long they were there, but I know that they had been closed for just right around a year when he bought the building. I know that he's putting a lot of remakes into it because we know that the whole grandfather thing. I'm helping him with getting the people to do the construction on the bathrooms, making it like a more nicer establishment, since that's kind of what he's been aiming for the last few years, which he's mentioned that he's had some issues at the club. But yeah, he's putting a lot of money into making it a really nice place, and the name is going to be called Old School. So kind of concentrating more on like 60s, 70s, 80s music. And having old school featured drinks you wanted me to bring up and say, so like monthly, like go back to like old school drinks like the Harvey Wallbanger, just and kind of get more of a older clientele, I think is what we're kind of looking for.
Do you know why, would you know why it's not applicable for you to have a functioning ID scanner device to check? I mean, you have that now at the Cueva, correct, which is where you bartend,
No, I will be bartending for Vince at the new establishment.
at the newest time.
I
Okay.
do know that he has had an ID scanner at his place since like probably 2013. Because when I've gone to visit him, I've had to show my ID there, and they scan it there. I also know that it was one provided for whoever he met with the police on the Broadway district. There is an ID scanner on the premise, along with the whole camera systems already set up.
So that's why it's not applicable, because it's
Because he
already in
already has
place?
it.
Well, I guess, well, we can save this for later, that part for later,
What? Okay,
Well, it's not applicable because it's already there, is that it?
possibly.
but possibly.
But that's probably not the right way to answer the question.
There's camera system already in place, and obviously the doors aren't open yet. And there's also an ID scanner on the premise as well.
Well, maybe it doesn't work. I don't know. And I don't know if we can go forward without knowing that, but do you work elsewhere in the bar business?
Yeah, I work at BB's Bar on Main Street.
Okay.
I've been there for 3 years.
3 years before that?
I owned a bar downtown called Liquidate.
I remember that one well.
After they closed Vicenzi's, we started getting some of their fantastic clientele. Same as what Vince got over on Boulevard. But now we're past those days.
I've heard more than enough.
Okay, I guess I have no other questions. Anything else? Oh, sorry, Elizabeth?
If this was held until our next meeting, when he could be here, Is that acceptable?
Sure, absolutely.
Because, you know, we got a pretty bad picture painted here, but, you know, we weren't told that he was operating a place. I don't know why we weren't told that. But anyway, he's operating a place, and he's in good standing at this point in time. We've renewed his license, and now the question is whether we want to give him a license for his second location.
Correct.
And of course, is, at his present place, is he in there a lot?
Which is, yes, which is why I'm
You can't be
actually,
in two places at one time.
and that's why I'm gonna be there to help out, because both of us have lived the 2013 years, and those are hopefully gone over with. So I've got kind of a lot of experience with that as well, which is why we're kind of guided towards a little bit different clientele. Move
you-
on and.
Question?
No, I can wait till,
Well, do you have a question?
not specifically.
Oh, okay, well then,
I'll wait till.
yep.
So yeah, if you guys would like to wait for Vince, that's fine. We just wanted to come and get
Discuss
the.
it here first, I guess.
Yeah.
Make a motion to turn to regular order of business.
Second?
Okay, there's nothing else you want to say?
Unless you have any other questions for
Nope.
me.
I think we're good, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Okay, motion by Alder Zima to return to order, second by Alder Dorf, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're back in order. I would just like to add, before I go to Alder Stoyer quick, when I first was elected and was put on protection welfare, we did have a semi-judicial hearing concerning the establishment in Vincent. There was a very, that must have been the 2014 incident, I'm assuming, that it was quite a disturbance. They had, I think almost that night, 3/4, if not more, of the force coming over to that disturbance. At the time, there was a lot of problems going on downtown with our bar establishments, and through the judicial proceeding, we kind of felt that it was a terrible incident, but we felt since it was a Hispanic culture and that there was some miscommunication more than any maliciousness or intent to create harm, and that's why we, as a council, even though there were those on staff who considered the incident quite severe and the applicant here more culpable than we held him to, we did not take his license at that time. So I think you should be aware of that.
What was the date of that in 14? Do you have a date?
I don't, of the hearing to revoke his license, the only thing I have is the conviction for the disorderly house. And then
The date I have, the event date was October 20th, 2013, is I think was what you referred to as the 14th date.
Okay, so it isn't really the 14th.
It's not the 2014, then it was
It
2013.
was 2000, the end of 2013. But it probably wasn't resolved till later or something.
That's probably it.
Well, I think,
This is the date of the ticket, but it probably wasn't resolved for 3, 4, or 5 months or whatever.
right, it looks like that was resolved in September of 2014, and then I think what Alderman Scannell's referring to is probably a hearing to revoke the liquor license,
Mhm.
also probably held in 2014.
So it wasn't a new incident, it was resolving the 13 incident that resulted in the quasi-judicial hearing. It was resolved in September of 2014, but the date of the incident was October 20th of 2013. That's the last, that's the
That's the
last
court.
interaction with the police at that point in time.
But I mean, is this why you had the hearing? Because of this incident?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to
Yes,
establish.
I believe so. Okay, but Alder Story first, please.
Thank you, Chair. I was on P&W when that was going on, and I remember the contention that went on with it, but I will say that Vince, the owner, I had a chance to go over there and view the establishment, and he, I think he was apologetic for what happened, but it seems like since that time that it has been much, much better. And I think he really went out of his way to try to make it better. I'm not saying it's perfect science, but I think in 2013 it was really a tough issue. And I think we looked at it, we listened to it, and I really feel that, you know, we came along well. And I'd like to at least consider that when we move forward. allow him to possibly keep his license. That's all.
Yeah, I just want to point out, I know it's 2013, but we also gave him back his license 14, 15, and 16, because he understands the ramifications, he understands what's going on. Like Annie just pointed out, the gentleman that was just up here, he learned what had to go on. And I was in that establishment, I saw what they do. And I saw how he changed the establishment, how you got to dress to come in there and everything else. It was a whole different scenery for the last 3 years. And he doesn't want to lose his license or provoke anything like that. So he now understands. We've lost businesses because they don't understand the process they go through. And we're starting to develop a system where we teach them and we let them know what's going on. What happened was not good, but what happened after was even better. So I understand the process that Captain Galvin's talking about, but I also understand what's happened since 2013. It's only gotten better, and nobody's been going there because the process he went through. It makes a big difference when your livelihood comes into attack, and it took a couple of years, for whatever reason, to understand why he had to get rid of certain clientele. But when he did, and when he established it, when he upgraded his ID, when he got the people at the front door to check IDs and everything else that goes on for the rest of the night, there hasn't been a problem. That's all I'm saying. That's the only reason why I'm here right now. Other than the fact that I asked you guys to put this on the agenda. Not this one, but the one before. This one I saw after.
We're in regular order right now, right?
Yes, we are.
Well, it seems to me the only question isn't whether to renew or not. It hasn't been put on a list of taverns that we want to bring before us at what do you call it, your renewal time, which
It's
is
a brand new
the
license.
end of June, so.
Well, the question is whether to grant them a license.
I know, the only question before us is whether we want to grant the second license to a person who's had problems in the past. But we haven't rejected them for 3 straight years. We haven't brought them before the committee again. The quasi-judicial hearing was settled this thing from 2013, and evidently there hasn't been anything noteworthy since then. Has the police department brought anything before us after that?
No.
That's since 2013.
So I don't know, I think the only question is whether the gentleman can handle 2 places, because seeing what his history was, can he spread himself that thin, or how is his management, how does he plan on keeping order in 2 places? He seems to have figured out how to do it in 1 place. Now, was it just his music that he allowed in? It seemed that wherever that type of music went, they always had trouble. And when people get rid of it, the problems subside. But I don't know, but that just seems to be the case, because I heard this with other bars, not this one. Wasn't there one out on the far east side that had similar problems? What was the one?
I'm not sure.
It doesn't matter. It's
Well,
not relevant to this case.
It was the
I know
clientele,
percentage
it was the
5, 6,
clientele
whatever that was,
was
that was
coming
the
there
problem.
that made the difference. And when you got people that think they're gangsters coming,
Right.
I'd like to make a motion to hold it.
I think it's important that we talk, how a person presents himself has a lot to do with how you feel about whether they can do a good job or not, so I'd second that motion.
Okay, motion by Alder Dorf to hold, seconded by Alder Zima. Any further discussion?
Yes. Could we have the police department put together a comprehensive list of his violations, so we have it all here, not spread out, because, we check the spelling, make sure we got everything that he's been charged with in the past. And I guess, I'll agree to hold it. I think it should be denied. He did not fill out his application correctly. Question number 2, have you ever been convicted? List anything you've done. He lists 1 thing out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alderman Dwayne seems to think it took a couple of years to get his act together. except it took 2005, 2006, multiple citations in 2006, 2007, 2010, 2009, 2011, 2013. I think that's more than a couple of years. We've had discussions about liquor establishments being a drain on our society, affecting our neighborhoods. This is one where we can show that establishments that he's run have been a direct drain on our community. They've impacted it through the violence, the excessive alcohol. You can't blame it on the music, you blame it on the person that's running the business. There's been plenty of taverns in this community that have run good businesses without a blip on the radar for many, many years, yet this individual runs a business where he's had enough blips that it should just be a black hole. I can't even understand why we're considering giving him another chance, but I guess people can change, and we should give him a chance to voice it, but, I mean, even Mr. Calhoun, you know, you blame it on the Vincenzi's crowd, you've got someone at the front door, that person allows those people in or out. You have staff inside your establishment that see people are getting too intoxicated or acting out, and they have the ability to call the police right away before it turns into a disturbance, yet that's not what happened at your establishment. I just see bad business on the horizon, and I just see the city suffering for it, and then I've seen what happens when we try to pull these licenses, and it's like pulling teeth. We grant these people more and more rope, they keep hanging themselves, and we keep letting them go at it. And I just, I'm not happy what I'm seeing or hearing here at all, and if we were to vote right now, I'd vote no, and I don't know if there's anything he could say in the future that could change my mind, based on his past history and everything else that's involved here. I mean, there's just so many flags here. His application, the security license stipulation, his past convictions and violations, I mean, there's flags all over the place. And there's nothing here that looks like a positive thing for our community. You can say, well, we're gonna have another closed establishment. Well, if it's closed, at least we're not having calls there for service. And that's all I see in the future of this establishment, if he's allowed to get a license and open it up. Thank you.
Anything else?
Just, when you make a report, I also want to know if there's any calls for service since January 2014, or whatever. Yeah, I guess that's good enough. Because, I understand everything that Mr. Galvin's saying, but at the same time, we did make a stipulation, and we did re-grant the license 3 times. And to me, like I said, the only question is, when I interview this person, how are they going to manage 2 places if they had difficulty with one before? They seem to have improved, but I guess we'll find out. We'd like to leave record here.
Okay. Well, anything I gotta say can wait till next time. I don't need to say anything now, so.
If I could just add one thing, because this is a new license, not a transfer at this point, it does fall within one of the moratorium areas, because it's on Broadway, right across from district office building, I believe, from the school district. So that would have to get the 3/4 vote of the council to get approved. If you guys approve it, then it goes to council.
Okay.
Okay, so what were the names of that before? Because that wasn't a problem property before.
Yeah, it was.
Country Club.
I mean, under
That's
different owners, it had a history. It was a biker bar for a long time.
Something in Cindy's bar for a long time, and there was a,
If I
the
may,
Alamo or something.
if I may, yeah, I would think it was called the Country Club back in the early 90s. And in the 2000s, since I've been in Green Bay, I know that it was a alternative bar called AJ's. And after that, it was a
AJ's.
It was a Native American bar for a while called MVP's. I'm not sure what it was before the Crunchy Frog, but I believe the Crunchy Frog was there for probably 5-6 years-ish.
But anyway, who the previous owners was or anything else, I don't see how that's relevant. So let's focus on the case at hand.
Oh, I must be confused, because I'm thinking of one that was on the corner there that's now it's now the Black Cat. So I think it's a different one. It's the one that's in the middle of that strip mall there.
Right.
Okay.
So the motion is to hold for next meeting?
Hold till next meeting, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion passes, it will be held until our next
Motion to,
meeting.
adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Alder Zima to adjourn, second by Alder Dorf, all in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. The 28th, if I'm mistaken, yeah, 28th. That'll be at 5 o'clock though, I'm pretty sure. 28th, 5 o'clock, this room.
I'll let him know. Thank you.
Thank you.